Good day, guys. What is going on? I'm Teo. Welcome to another vlog episode. If you don't already know, I do play live casino poker at a competitive level. Today, I'm going to be talking about something a little bit different, way long overdue. I'm going to be talking about bankroll management. So I'm going to be talking about two types of bankroll management. One as a recreational and two as a professional. This is going to be a two-part installment. First part, bankroll management. Second part, I'm going to talk about the Excel that I use to actually track my results. So I'm probably going to put a link to that. Might be in this episode, might be in that episode. So look out for that. Check out the descriptions below. And that's what second part's going to be about. It's going to be about graph stuff and it's going to be about log stuff. So if you guys like the numbers and you like seeing graphs and stuff, then definitely check out part number 2. But for now, let's just jump right into pro bankroll management. Now I'm going to pretend that we're playing 1-2 and we want to just try this out professionally. Before we even start playing the game, make sure that you get your expenses down, you get your pretty much your monthly balance, what it costs you on a month-to-month basis. So that way you could kind of structure your bankroll and all your needs right around that amount of money. Because it really depends on your lifestyle and if you can succeed or not. Because if your lifestyle is way beyond 1-2, then you cannot play 1-2 for a living, or you're going to have an extremely hard time doing it. You're going to have to work like 80 hours and it's just going to be insane. So let's just kind of break out everything. And before you even start, you got to have two things. You got to have one, you got to have your bankroll. And what I would recommend for a professional player is anywhere from 50 to 100 buy-ins. I know it seems a little crazy. I know it's a little overkill. It's definitely conservative. But maybe for 1-2 you don't necessarily need 100. But you're going to be safe, 100% safe with 50 buy-ins playing live poker. Again, this is for live poker because on the internet you could go for crazy downswings and your win rate is just a lot lower on the internet. People are better, they're just tighter. Nit ring, man. So what it is, it's just nit ring. Number 2, you really want to have an emergency fund. This is something that you can rely on in case things go bad. Maybe your car breaks down or something like that. Maybe something happens, right? You got to like cough out $500 or something like that, and you really do not want to dip into your bankroll for that. That's why you got to have an emergency fund. If something happens, let's just say you go on a really bad downswing or something like that, or hopefully you don't go broke off of playing 1-2 and just going on a 10K downswing. That would just be horrendous. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But if it does, your emergency fund should be able to last you 4 to 6 months of living expenses. So we're going to just talk about the living expenses right now and just keep those numbers in mind for the example, and I'm just going to follow through it. So as a typical person in Toronto, let's just say that most of you guys are going to be young when you're trying this out, and it's just the absolute best way to start off. If you're going to try to start off, it's better to start off with no responsibilities, and it's just best to not have a family. Honestly, if you are starting to be a pro with a family, it's going to be so difficult, but it is doable, and you really have to balance things out. You want to just make sure that your living expense is going to be lower than what your cash flow is, right? You got to have a win rate that is higher than your monthly expense for you to actually move up. And you want to have enough of a cash flow that you can continue growing your bankroll. So that can be done in two ways. It's either through win rate or through the amount of hours played. So let's just do this example here. This is an example for somebody that is young, somebody that's like 19, 20, 22. You guys are hungry and you just want to go out there and you want to make money. And you don't have that many responsibilities. And what's even better is if you're living at home, then you probably can wipe some of these expenses out or definitely reduce them. But let's just say that you do have your own apartment and it costs you $1,000 a month for rent. That is all in, utilities paid, everything good to go. Boom. I've done some searches, and guys, around Toronto, you could definitely find an apartment. And it's going to be like a basement apartment. It's not going to be something extravagant and super flashy because you're playing 1-2 and you're not going to have an extravagant lifestyle. Like, you really got to live within your means, or actually below your means, because That's really how you're going to get ahead and you're going to save. And I just see like so many people just overspending and living above their means, and that's just a totally different story. But let's just continue. So we're going to talk about food as well. $500 for food. That is going to last you a month, no problem. Let's just talk about car and gas. I pay about $200 a month in insurance, and if you double that, then that's probably going to be enough to get you around. But if you drive further to get to the casino, then obviously this expense is going to go up. So it's ideal that you're probably within a 30 kind of minute range from your casino if you really want to give this a shot. Otherwise, it's just, you're going to kill too much time, you're going to kill gas, and it's just not going to work. My phone is $28 per month. So let's just add everything up. Once we add it up, it comes out to $19.28. So you just got about under $2,000 of expenses per month. Is that achievable? Now, let's just actually look at the numbers for 1-2. I'm just going to say that you are pretty damn good and you're making $20 an hour at 1-2. That is going to be your proven number. Now, obviously, when you start out and you're actually diving into it, you're not going to know that you're making $20 an hour. So that's why it's good if you have some online experience and you're winning at, like, say, 10 cent and a quarter, like 3 big blinds per 100, 4 big blinds per 100, and then you move up to 25 cent, 50 cent. So if you're beating that at 3 big blinds per 100, then you can definitely beat the 1-2 live cash games, and you can win at a pretty extraordinary rate. But let's just say you're making $20 an hour. You're gonna put 40 hours per week, which is your standard work week, right? 40 hours. So, and you take the weekends off. That's totally cool. You work 5 days a week and 8 hours a day, right? That's going to get you to $800 per week. And if you count that out, that's going to be 52 weeks in a year. Comes out to about $41,000 at the end of the year. That is a pretty good income for somebody that's just playing a card game, right? It's pretty damn good on paper. Now, that means you're going to be working super, super hard. You're going to be putting in all these hours. Maybe some months you're going to put in 60 hours just so you could play like maybe 20 hours the next month, like on Christmas or something like that. Or if you want to take a vacation or whatever the case may be, right? You might actually even play less. Maybe you want to play 30 hours per week or something like that. So definitely consider all of these options, and we're going to kind of see how everything works. At the end of the year, we divide everything by 12. That comes out to $3,467 per month, which gives you a cash flow of $1,539 per month. That is a pretty good cash flow. You got to remember that you're trying to build a bankroll and you want to move to 2-5. You want to jump out of 1-2 or progressively go to 1-3 and go on to your higher stakes, right? Maybe 2-3 or whatever is in your area, right? You consistently want to keep moving up. Definitely want to get to 2-5 sooner than later, just because most of the time rake is better at 2-5, and same thing goes from 2-5 to 5-10. So as you go up, rake gets better. And obviously the games get tougher, so the bankroll management actually gets tighter. So now when you're moving up to, say, like 5-10, instead of having 50 buy-ins, you want to have closer to 100 buy-ins just to be on the safer side, right? You want to really reduce that risk of ruin. So when we talk about getting this cash flow, right, if we're going to keep the 50 big blind rule, that means that by the end of the year, if you save up all your cash flow, all your $1,500, that comes out to about $18,000. So that means that your second year of playing, you can actually start 2-5, and you can 100% dive in with 50 big blinds. Now, some of you might want to get adventurous, and that's totally fine, a shot take. And if you feel like you're comfortable playing with less than 50 buy-ins, then you can start playing with 20 buy-ins and just give it a shot. But you got to remember, right? If your cash flow is $1,500 a month, that is 3 bullets at 2-5. How many sessions have I had when I would have been down 3 bullets? It takes you a month to recover 3 bullets. So keep that in mind. You can't be like dusting off bullets, and it's really, really hard to do. But it's something that you guys got to figure out, and it's a fine balance between transitioning from one stake to the next. because everybody's going to do it differently. For some people, it's going to be harder than others. You might be struck with variance where you're going to try to move up in stakes and everything is just kind of against you, and that's not going to work really easily. For some people, you might just boom, shoot right off the hop and everything is like handy dandy and you just make it. So keep all those things in mind when we're talking about bankroll, but at the end of the day, all you got to worry about is making that cash flow. So if you're on a $2,000 downswing, add 1-2, and you got to remember that it's going to take you about a month and a half to actually recover from a $2,000 downswing, which is absolutely insane. So guys, like, you cannot be dusting off buy-ins as a professional. So that was the professional part. Let's just go on to the rec players and kind of talk about what works best. So now we're going to talk about the recreational aspect of it and what kind of works for me, what I've been doing. Even as a recreational player, I've still been taking everything at like a professional level. It's just I kind of lowered my buy-in requirements, but everything else really kind of stays the same. I don't have to worry too much about covering all my costs, all my monthly expenses, because all those expenses are really covered by work. And there's also enough cash flow from work coming in, and I don't really have to worry about that too much. So everything poker is just kind of within its own unit, and it's just self-sustaining. I don't have to worry about really changing that bankroll all too much, just because I always have cash flow coming in. So as a rec player, what I'd recommend is having anywhere from 10 to 50 buy-ins, because you're not playing as often and you could take more risks. You don't have to survive the next month just from playing this game, because poker is going to be isolated by itself anyways. It's going to be its own entity. So it's not really going to impact your life in any way. As long as you just kind of keep the thing growing on its own, then everything should be self-sustaining. And that's all that you really got to worry about. You're still playing your game. You're playing really well. It's not like just because you work for a living, you can start spazzing off and making calls that you shouldn't. And you should be playing just like you would be grinding at a pro level. And yeah, but ultimately, you know what? It gives you more freedom. And the main thing for me is that there's no pressure to pay my bills, right? There's no pressure to paying bills every month, which could be extremely detrimental to somebody that's on a downswing. So that's the benefit of playing recreationally, is that you don't have to worry about the paycheck. Everything is just coming your way. And you can make that hero call. You could bluff on the river. And if they call you, then you're still going to pay rent. And you're still going to have food on your plate. And you're still going to be happy tomorrow. You don't play poker for a living. So as you can tell, it's just a way more relaxing environment. I do miss going to the casino when I wanted to, and I do miss making the schedule as I please. But that is one of the perks and one of the awesome things of playing full time, is that you can manage your own time, and it could also be very detrimental to some of you that are just not cut out for a professional environment. You really have to just plan your days, and you just got to execute. Think about what works for you. Think about the numbers. Really write down a balance sheet, and remember, you got to live below your means to just make everything work. So all in all, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Look out for part number 2, where I'm going to talk about my poker graph and my kind of journey, and just the whole live experience. And I'm going to give you guys the link to the Excel sheet, maybe in this one, maybe in the next one. Thanks again for watching. Stay focused, don't tilt, and just have fun. All right, see ya.